Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, in this episode, I want to ask you a question. Okay, I want to ask you a question. How do you know if you're having problems with your heart valve? Now, many individuals don't understand the specifics relative to that. They just look at it as, they can experience, let's say, spasms in their chest and feel as if, or think that they're having a heart attack when they're actually not. They really can. They can feel as if they're having a heart attack when they're not. It's just certain muscles in the chest cavity are just spazzing, and it can cause concern. There are many other chest pain symptoms or discomforting symptoms that many individuals would tie to, okay, I guess I'm having a heart attack, or whatever the case may be, when they're not. But I want to ask you this, to be a bit more specific. How do you know if you have a problem with your heart valve? Understand something. Heart disease is the leading cause of death among men and women globally. Okay? And there are many times where cardiovascular issues or problems don't present with symptoms. So it makes it a bit more difficult to diagnose. It makes it a bit more difficult to even know that if there's a health concern or not. Okay? Now, there's something actually called heart valve disease, and many individuals globally are unaware of it. And this is why, you listen to Acupuncture is My Life podcast, because you learn so many things every day, every new podcast. And here's just yet another, heart valve disease. And many times there aren't any warning signs that you have heart valve disease, especially in the early stages. But as the disease progresses, there are certain symptoms that are just going to clearly indicate there's a huge problem here. But first, even before getting into symptoms, and this is why I say, see a physician on an annual basis, and then make regular wellness visits with an acupuncturist. Okay? Because these are issues, or an issue such as this, you may not have to worry about. But the key is that annual visit to a physician and regular wellness visits throughout the year to an acupuncturist. Now, understand something. Let's first understand what heart valve disease is. You see, your heart, it has 4 separate valves that separates each chamber of the heart. And these valves within the heart, they act sort of like gates or gatekeepers. And it keeps blood flowing in the right direction throughout the heart chambers. Okay. And so when you hear that dum dum, dum dum, dum dum, in the stethoscope, when it's placed against your heart, that's like your valves opening and closing. But now, when one or even more than one of these valves don't open properly, or they don't close properly, the flow of blood that passes through the heart becomes disrupted. Now heart valve disease is present. Okay. And you see, heart valves can either be too narrow or not closed tight enough. But the more common type of heart valve problem is a calcified and narrow aortic valve. That's the more common type of heart valve problem. And see, these are things that you have to know because, in the world of acupuncture, you can have heart qi deficiency, heart yin deficiency, heart yang deficiency, which definitely applies here. And these are the things that an acupuncturist would explain to you. Because if there's a deficiency in the heart valve's ability to close or open properly, can it be related to heart yang? Can it be related to heart qi? An acupuncturist would have to assess you. But there are several causes, and many individuals do ask, like, who is more at risk of heart valve disease? Now, heart valve disease can be caused by various or a number of different conditions. It can be present at birth due to the fact that one or more of your heart valves have not formed properly. And this is what's called congenital heart valve disease. Now, other causes can be due to infections that can affect the heart. Certain types of heart attacks or heart failure can result in heart valve disease. And the older you get, the higher your risk of valvular heart disease. All right? And it's important that you're aware of this. This is why, again, it's important to see an acupuncturist, to exercise, get proper sleep, proper diet, keep stress as low as possible. Because you see, heart valve disease can be real subtle. Like I stated earlier, in the beginning, it may not present with any significant signs or symptoms. And sometimes the changes can be pretty mild. So if you feel concerned about your heart, this is why, again, see a physician and an acupuncturist and get a thorough evaluation done. And even though the initial signs are very subtle, early diagnosis is the most important to prevent a more serious outcome. Okay? And sometimes heart valve, some types of valve disease, it can be monitored. And mild symptoms can be treated with either herbal formulas recommended by your acupuncturist or even medications prescribed by your physician. And in more severe cases, people have even had heart valve replacement done. So, this is a serious condition. It's a very, very serious condition. And one of the main symptoms is like heart murmurs. Because heart valve disease, for the most part, tends to lead to heart murmurs. And like when an acupuncturist or physician puts a stethoscope against your chest, they'll hear like this whooshing sound, which is caused by blood flowing abnormally in the presence of valves that are not opening or closing the way in which they should. And there are some types of heart murmurs that are not really that serious. But then there are some types that are an extremely important sign of heart valve disease. So it's important that you know this because health is wealth. Let's just face it. Health is wealth. That's where the money's at. That's where the wealth is. It's not in the bank. It's not in the safe. Wealth is not in your pocket. It's not in your wallet or your purse. It's not under the mattress. It's not in a cryptocurrency account or in an app on your phone. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. No, nor is it in the shoebox in the closet. The wealth is in you. And this is why most of you listen to Acupuncture's My Life podcast every day. Every day. But another common symptom of heart valve disease is shortness of breath. Do you experience shortness of breath sometimes? And you're not in, I'm not talking about like when after you ran 10 miles or 15 miles. No. Just regular stroll down the hall or up a flight of steps. Just something that really should not cause you to face shortness of breath. And another major concern with shortness of breath, if it occurs while you're resting. That's like, whoa, get to an acupuncturist right away. And sometimes, being out of facing shortness of breath, it can make it difficult for you to go to sleep and sleep normally at night. There can be swollen ankles or swollen legs that accompany this shortness of breath. And of course, there are other causes or heart and lung causes for shortness of breath. But one that's very important to consider is heart valve disease. Because shortness of breath can indicate that blood is backing up in your heart when you're being active. And it's something to be aware of. And also, do you experience chest pain? That's another indicator, or potential indicator of heart valve disease. Particularly with valve stenosis or incomplete opening. These are, because chest pain is a sign that your heart is working hard just to pump blood. Do you also experience, let's say, fainting spells? Lightheadedness, palpitations can be a sign of heart valve disease. Because in general, it can be related to abnormal heart rhythms that can be seen in individuals with heart valve abnormalities. This can be a sign of heart-yang deficiency. Heart qi deficiency. And if it progresses, it can result in fainting spells. It's important that you know these things. It's important that you make acupuncture a part of your life. Because a lot of these disorders that I discuss on a regular basis are quite concerning. And many of you globally face some of these disorders. And if you knew about acupuncture many moons ago, it could have been avoided. Or it may not have progressed to the levels in which it has. This is why you have to understand why I'm always saying, make acupuncture part of your life, okay? Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?